Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you all doing good. Today I am going to talk about my opinion on the best value off-brand budget guitars and why I've come to my assessment. And I think I have a little bit of experience with this. For those of you that have been following my website on budget gear, I've had the website out now for maybe about 3 years, I would guess. I've bought over 100 guitars in that period of time. So that's, if you do quick math, it's 30 some odd guitars a year, which is about 2 a month, over 2 a month in some cases. So my gas has been out of hand. And it's been predominantly budget guitars. Off-brand budget guitars, with a smattering of brand guitars here and there. But in any event, my video today is to help those that are on the fence, buying a certain brand possibly, or not knowing where to start in some cases. If this could help you, great. If you have that knowledge base yourself, well then skip the video. But in any event, here we go. So, when I talk about best value off brands, I'm basing it on a couple of things. The obvious one is value in terms of purchase price, overall quality of the instrument based on the components, the woods, etc., and, which is very important, the support you get, customer service support you get from the company or that manufacturer. So, let's start off with a couple of brands, or many brands for that matter. Now, I'm going to break this into two categories to make it even, or easier to digest. The brands that, in my opinion, have very poor resale, right, which is the majority of them, and the few brands that are out there that if you buy smart, you can actually make some money with them, which is unusual, believe me, for an off-brand sale. I've lost more money than I want to even talk about or mention by buying these off-brand products and then having a change of heart or needing to get something else and selling something to get something else. I've taken a beating on off-brands, and I don't highly recommend it. What I do recommend is these products that I'm going to be talking about that have poor resale. In some cases, they're diamonds in the rough. They just you can't resell them because they have no brand value. But if you are handy and you know how to do modifications to guitars, you can get and make these guitars into very playable, in some cases, much better than these brand instruments at the same price point, like some of the lower end Epiphones or Washburns or Squiers or Ibanez's that are out there. In a lot of cases, you can make some of these off-brand guitars with some tweaks, better tuners, better pickups, maybe changing out some of the hardware, the pots, etc., into playable and, again, in some cases, better instruments than comparable brand items at that same price point, or for significantly less money than the price point of the brand instruments. So keep that in mind. I am directing this towards the hobbyist, the novice, the guys that aren't hands-on and handy with guitars and just want to buy an instrument and play that, okay? So just keep that in mind in terms of what we're looking at when I'm making my assessment. So right out of the chute, brands that you're going to lose money on if you buy them. At the top of the list is Glarie. Those guitars are firewood if you try to resell them. They have no value at all on the street. And take it from me, again, having sold a bunch of guitars in the past couple of years, Glarie, you're losing money. And also, not the best quality, quite frankly. These guitars typically are not made extremely well with any attention to detail. They're designed at students, entry-level players, folks that might, quite frankly, give up the guitar, right? They may pick it up and say it's not worth it. I can't stick with this anymore. And you've made a very minimal investment, so you'll throw it out or keep it on the side of your room as a doorstop or whatever. So Glarie, poor resale, poor quality, quite frankly. Donner, better quality instruments. Some of the Tellys that I bought, Telly style guitars, are actually very decent level entry level instruments in terms of build quality, feel, etc. However, you can't get anything back on these guitars as well. Very poor resale value. And I think it's largely because they're constantly, they have a good inventory, number one, of the product. So there's tons of them out there. And when you're trying to make some money in selling the instrument so you don't lose money, you can buy it pretty much on Amazon when they're running a sale for that same price. So you're going to take a beating trying to sell this thing on your own. Support-wise for Glarie, let me just go back to Glarie for a second before I talk about Donner. Now, Glarie, again, firewood, right? Support-wise, though, they do have a website, and you can ask questions. You can send them emails. Sometimes they have chat going, so you will get a minimal level of support. Donner, same thing. They do have a website. They also have a phone number, I believe an 800 phone number, where you can call up and actually speak to somebody. So that's the positive there. Resale horrible, but you do get some support. In any event, any one of these brands that I'm going to be talking about, I highly recommend buying through Amazon, because at least you know if you buy this instrument and you don't like it, or there's an issue with it, which could very well be at these price points and quality of these guitars, you can return them without any headaches. So again, caveat here. For all of these brands, I would highly recommend, if it's available on Amazon, buy it through Amazon. Next brand, poor resale, Monoprice. Now, Monoprice, the Indio line, are actually decent guitars from a quality standpoint. The Boardwalk semi-hollows are excellent. The Cali Classic Strat-style guitars are excellent. The Telly-style guitars, the Retro Classics, when I say excellent, they're decent entry-level guitars. They are what they are. But you're getting them for a song. I mean, Monoprice very frequently runs 15% off sales, as well as, in some instances, rare instances, 20%, which they recently just had. Now, if you get one of their guitars that's on sale at 20%, 15% off, you can get these things at a very, very crazy low price. They ship with a semi-padded gig bag, and they have support. There's no issue whatsoever if you want to go direct through Monoprice returning your instrument. They're excellent. So in that case, from a support standpoint, I give them a lot of kudos. From a quality standpoint, they're very low entry budget guitars. In a lot of cases, they used to be better than they are today, I'll be honest with you, that I found in terms of quality. You're gonna flip a coin. You're gonna probably get some sharp fret ends. You're probably gonna get some tuners occasionally with issues. You might have some imperfections on the body of the guitar, some surface area imperfections, maybe some dings, irregularities, whatever the case is. But again, it's a low price point. It's to be expected. But they do stand behind their products. You don't have issues with returning your items. You can either return it through Amazon or return it directly through Monoprice with no issues. But the resale on the Monoprices are next to nothing. You're not going to get anything back for your guitars. I've taken more baths on Monoprices when I've sold them than I'd like to, again, even mention or discuss. And that's across the board, whether it's a Telly style, Strat style, ES335 semi-hollow style, you name it, offset style. I've taken a beating. The fourth brand, Grote/Redid. And I believe they're made out of the same factories, because if you look at these guitars, they almost look identical, from the headstock shape through the appointments on the guitars to everything else. So I'm suspecting Grote and Redid, R-E-D-I-D, are made out of the same factory. And again, when you go to resell either of these things, you're going to take a bath. There is no resale value selling Grote guitars. Again, because they're plentiful on Amazon and on eBay, on some of these other sites at very, very low prices. And their quality is okay. You know, it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's a budget guitar that's playable. That's all I have to say. Zuwei, Zuwei /Starshine. They're one and the same companies. Now you only find predominantly Zuwei on the market, and they're sold mostly through either eBay or Amazon. I don't believe they even have a website that's functional. They used to, but I'm pretty much sure now there's not much on it if it still exists. These are extremely cheap-made guitars, along the lines of Glarie, maybe a notch above Glarie in terms of quality, but not that high, much higher. The necks on most of their guitars are like baseball bat thick. They are very iffy in terms of issues. I've had a couple of their products shipped to me dead on arrival where the pickups don't work. The bundles, if it's an amp shipped with a guitar, the amp is dead on arrival. So very, very poor quality control at this company. And in a lot of cases, they charge a premium for their products. Some of the products are close to $200, which is nuts for what you're getting. So, and again, if you do buy one and you try to unload it, you're gonna have to give it away, basically. So that's that. There's another brand, Best Choice Products, BC, Best Choice, mostly on Amazon. Again, iffy quality, nothing to really shout out about, and no resale value at all, and no customer service. So that's another. And they're typically ES335 semi-hollow style guitars that you see from Best Choice. The other brand, Licks Pro, mostly Fender style, Strat style, Tele style guitars. Again, I've found these things to be lower quality than your Donners and Monoprices. They're okay, but I would put Licks Pro where I put Leo James, which is my next brand. They're kind of, a crapshoot. Some of them may be acceptable, others may be horrible in terms of playability and quality control. I found my Leo James, the ones that I've had, to be very, very bare-bone, basic guitars. Tuners usually are a problem. Pickups are microphonic and not very good quality overall. And again, zero resale value on those guitars. Zero. You're going to have to basically give them away if you get tired of them. Also, no really customer support. They don't have any websites with any functional type of follow-up coming out of them. Pyle is another guitar brand. I'm not going to say anything beyond that. It's an interesting name. Pyle. They were originally known for making audio products, speakers, car speakers, etc. They do make some instruments. Interestingly enough, some of their acoustic guitars that I've tried in the past were actually okay, decent quality. So, again, they do have a website, but minimal support out of the website. I really can't endorse them because I don't have that much experience with Pyle, but it's a brand, again, they're just not going to stand above any other brand in terms of what I'm talking about. But all of these that I just talked about for poor resale, buy them through Amazon. And buy them if you have experience tweaking guitars and can make modifications. That's my suggestion and recommendation. Out of these brands that I just mentioned, the better brands in terms of overall quality, functionality, playability out of the box are going to be Donner at the top of the list, in my opinion. Very playable guitars. Monoprice. Their Indio line is very playable, very good quality for what you're getting. And Grote /Redid in terms of overall quality. Now, there's a brand that's in the middle here between, I'm going to talk about in a second, the better resale value guitars, in my opinion, which is a very short list that I've had experience with. But right in the middle, which I can't make a decision on right now, is a brand called West Creek that is on Amazon currently. West Creek make predominantly hollow body or semi-hollow body, I should say, style guitars. ES335 style, Ibanez-ish style, Eart core-ish semi-hollows. And I bought their semi-hollow, which I still have. It's an excellent value guitar. It comes with Alnico pickups. It has rounded fret ends on the guitar. Excellent finishing on the wood. nice feeling neck. I mean, the tuners are fine. They're functional tuners without any issues. Now, I don't have any clue to Resale. I suspect it's not there at all because the brand is unknown. But quality-wise, and they don't have really any website to speak of, but quality-wise, it's an excellent guitar in my opinion, and priced very reasonable on Amazon. They're constantly running sales. So West Creek I'm going to leave as to be determined. Now, the better Resale low-end budget off-brand guitars, and I've got two of them that I'm recommending at this point in time. One of them is Eart. They make typically Fender-ish style guitars and also some semi-hollows. I've had experience with their Strat style guitars, and there are tons of reviews on YouTube on their Strat style guitars, which basically say they're the best value Strat style guitars on the market in some cases. I think they're well made. Their stock pickups or ceramic pickups, they're okay. They're fine for a novice or a beginner or a hobbyist. If you're playing out, you probably would want to change them, in my opinion, but they're okay. But the fret ends and the craftsmanship on these guitars are second to none. They have beautiful frets that are finished and rounded. The necks feel phenomenal. They have unbelievable feeling necks on these guitars. Thin necks, if you like thin necks. If you like thick necks, maybe not so much. But not thin like the Ibanez crazy thin necks. But a very, very comfortable, light, thin, C-shaped neck. Matte finish to a lot of their woods. And extremely well crafted guitars. Their stock tuners are excellent. Their pots and switches are all functional and excellent. They make very good quality low end. But more importantly, on the Resale, if you get these at a decent price on Amazon, which sometimes they have them, they have them on sale, I'd grab them. Because when you go to sell these guitars, you will have no issue selling them. They're in demand. People like Eart. For whatever reason, they already have a cult following. And in a lot of cases, if that model is out of stock somewhere and you happen to buy it and try to resell it, you can maybe make a couple of bucks even on these guitars. So, Eart, I definitely recommend. Quality-wise, they also have a website where they have support. But if you buy it through Amazon, as I always recommend, you're going to have no issues anyway. But a good quality guitar. And then the other one is IVYV. And these guitars are made out of a Vietnamese manufacturing plant. IVYV, Indian Vina, is a Korean company that moved their manufacturing plants to Vietnam from a cost standpoint. But they're extremely well-made instruments with attention to detail. They come out of the box in most cases very, very playable and decently set up. Their stock pickups are these CNC wound pickups that they have on their guitars that are actually decent quality pickups. I mean, if you don't want to change them out, you don't have to. Certainly, if you're looking for more, a certain sound or tone that you're chasing, and you want to get more of a name brand pickup, in the guitar, you can certainly change them. But as they ship with these guitars, they're not microphonic. They don't sound cheap. They're playable as is. So the other thing is with IVYV, they make certain models that are in demand. Now, I bought a Brian May style IVYV guitar years back. And for those of you that don't know or are not familiar with the Brian May guitars, there are not a lot of them on the market. There are two manufacturers, I believe, that make these guitars, the real thing, and maybe one that's fairly close to it. I think Burns is one of them. And they're in demand because the guitar is a very unique guitar. It has switching on it that's not conventional switching. You can get a whole bunch of different tones and sounds out of the guitar. So to make a long story short, I bought the Brian May guitar in transparent red, the Brian May color. And I got a crazy good deal on Amazon. I forgot what I paid for it, but it was nuts. It was a crazy low deal. And I sold it on eBay, and I made like $200 on the guitar, which is crazy for a knockoff guitar. But it was in demand, and I priced it as if there were a couple of others that were for sale. I priced it a little bit lower than the others that were for sale, which were crazy prices that they were asking, and I sold it. Now, there's another model that they had that I sold a couple of years back, which was a PRS knockoff guitar in a funky greenish color. And similar thing, I didn't make that kind of profit on it, but I sold it and made some money, actually. I made more than I bought it for on the guitar. So those two brands, IYV, Indian Vina, IYV, and Eart, are extremely well-made instruments for the money. The components on them are good. The woods they use are typically good. The support you get from Eart is excellent. Now, from Indian Vina, IYV, it's not so much. They don't really have a local U.S.-based support, but they're sold through Amazon, so Amazon really takes over for that. Now, you're not going to get any specific questions answered on the guitars themselves. You will with Eart, not with IYV. But you can make money reselling them if you buy them at the right price to begin with. And typically you will if you get a sale at Amazon. So that's my 2 cents. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. There's a ton of brands that have very, very poor resale. And they're all these lower-end brands that I mentioned for, budget-style guitars, off-brand guitars. A couple of them, which I also just mentioned, that you can actually do okay if you try to, and you will, two things. You will resell them, which is one thing. It won't be difficult. Some of these other brands like Glarie, Donner, Monoprice, Grote, it's not easy to resell them. You could have these things on Reverb or eBay for months before you even get a bite. Because they're plentiful and they're cheap. But with an Eart model that's in demand or an IYV model, it'll go quick, and in some cases you might even make a couple of bucks. So, let me know your story. If you agree with what I said, if you disagree, if you've got some other guitar brands that you want to mention, put them in the comments. Love to hear. And if you find these videos interesting, useful, helpful, please subscribe. And guys, it's Memorial Day. Be safe. Take care of yourself. And give some thought and pause to the folks that served us that are no longer with us. God bless them. God bless you. Have a great day.